All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know what this video is all about. It's all about getting back together with your ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend. In fact, this video is going to be a must-watch if you're trying to reverse a breakup, because in it, I'm going to tell you why you absolutely must ignore a few pieces of very common bad advice. Now, why should you listen to me? Well, my name is Brad Browning, of course. Some people like to call me Breakup Brad, and I quite literally do this for a living. For the last 10 years or so, I've been helping people from around the world get a second chance with an ex. And currently, my YouTube channel has around 175,000 subscribers and almost 30 million views. And my best-selling comprehensive program, The X Factor, has sold a little over 100,000 copies. So clearly, I must be doing something right, and hopefully you'll agree after you watch this video. Now, like I said, I want to tell you about some very common things that many people are going to tell you when they learn that you're unhappy with your recent breakup and that you're trying to win back your ex. In fact, I'm sure most of you have already heard a few of these pieces of advice, from your friends and your family, which is why you really need to pay close attention to what I'm about to cover in the next couple of minutes. Now, before I begin, let me just quickly mention that when people tell you most of the things that I'm about to talk about, they're generally doing it with the best intentions. The simple fact is, though, is that the strategies and tactics that you need to use to get your ex back are generally actually really counterintuitive. So what you think would be a logical strategy to get your ex back and to take you back is often actually going to hurt your chances and do more harm than good. And that's why it can be really dangerous to listen to advice from anyone who doesn't really know what they're talking about. In fact, even a lot of the so-called breakup experts on the internet don't have any real experience or any real clue what they're talking about. Some do, obviously, but a lot of them are just looking for an easy cash grab, so just be careful who you listen to. Anyway, okay, let's get on to it. Let's dive straight into the first piece of advice that people are going to say to you that you should ignore. And that's when someone tells you that you shouldn't try to get back together with your ex at all, or if they say your ex just wasn't right for you. Now again, this is usually something that friends and family are going to say to you because they either want you to avoid having your heart broken again, as though that's guaranteed to happen if you get back together, and it definitely isn't, or because they're not particularly fond of your ex in general. And again, these are fairly normal opinions that your closest friends and family have a right to voice, but they don't know what goes on in your head or how your relationship was behind closed doors when they weren't around. So, simply put, no one else can tell you whether you should or shouldn't be with somebody. It's your decision. No one else can make that decision for you because they simply don't know how you feel inside or what you really want out of your relationship. Now, granted, it's definitely wise to ask yourself whether your ex is the right person for you before you start winning him or her back. But if you already know that that's what you want, then you can just tune anyone out who tries to talk you out of it. It's your life, and no one else is in a position to tell you how you feel or what you should want. Now, for anyone out there still struggling to figure out if you can or should get your ex back, try taking my free quiz tool. It'll give you some helpful advice and evaluate your odds of success. The quiz is available at breakupbrad.com/quiz. It only takes about 5 minutes, and you'll get the results within a minute or two of completing that quiz. So if you do want to give it a try for yourself, just go to breakupbrad.com/quiz. All right, now moving on, the next piece of common advice you've probably already been hearing is to, tell your ex how you really feel about them. Now, this is a line that parents will often use, and it's essentially usually it's their way of saying all you can do is tell your ex how much you love them and hope for the best. Well, no offense to all the people who've said that to you since your breakup, but they're telling you the exact opposite of what you should really be doing if you do want to win back your ex. Spilling your heart out in front of your ex, writing them a sappy love note, those kinds of things are almost always a surefire ticket to failure. So please never listen to anyone telling you to do those things. Now, look, there may come a time when being truthful about your feelings for your ex may be okay, but for now, you need to avoid doing anything like that. And in fact, you actually just need to be doing the opposite. So you need to make your ex think that you don't give a crap about the breakup and that you're the kind of amazing catch that they'd be crazy to let walk out of their life. Now, to learn more about how to fundamentally change how your ex thinks about you and your relationship, which is the first step to making him or her come crawling back to you, head over to my website and watch the full instructional video I've got up there. That's at breakupbrad.com. And in that video, I talk all about this psychological technique that's crucial if you want to win your ex back. So again, you can watch that full video at breakupbrad.com. Now, another thing that people will tell you is that you should only start dating again when you're really and truly ready. the whole take your time, don't rush into any new relationships until you're ready type of argument. Now again, I think this piece of advice is almost always given to you with your best interests in mind, but it's also just wrong. You should start going on dates and hanging out with members of the opposite sex as soon as possible. Even if you don't want to be with anybody else and dating is the last thing you feel like doing right now, it's always healthy and it's a very powerful tactic for getting your ex back. And even if the jealousy and the other benefits that come from openly beginning to date new people again doesn't make an impact on your ex, although it generally does, but on the rare chance that it doesn't, it's also going to help keep your mind off the breakup. It's going to help you start to move on and, who knows, maybe even lead you into a new, better relationship. Now, regardless of how things pan out, you should ignore anybody who tells you not to rush back into the dating game. As soon as you can, get yourself out there and just start hanging out with new people and going on dates. All right, so I've got one more to share with you here before we wrap this video up. Sometimes you may hear people tell you that you should get revenge on your ex. Now, I don't want to generalize here, but often the people who tell you that type of thing are the same people that end up in, unhealthy relationships full of drama, jealousy, cheating, and nasty breakups. And I mean, okay, sure, maybe your ex did do something terrible to you, and maybe you're still mad about that. That's fair enough. But if whatever they did was so bad that you're now determined to get back at them and to seek vengeance, then you probably need to think twice about actually whether you want to really get back together with that person in the first place. And quite frankly, even though I'm not here to preach morality to you or talk you out of trying to get revenge for your ex if they did something horrible to you, but I also know that it almost never works out in the end. At best, you'll get a few days of satisfaction, but more likely you'll just end up looking petty, burning bridges, and feeling just the same as you did before. So my advice, and yes, it is safe to listen to my advice, at least when it comes to the topic of breakups, is just to forget about trying to get back at your ex or seeking revenge, because it's just not worth the effort. So YouTube, now it's your turn to ask me your questions. So, maybe someone has given you some advice on how to win back your ex, and you want a second opinion about whether you should actually listen to whatever they've said to you. Or maybe someone else has told you something that contradicts what I've said in this video, and you want to hear my take on that. Whatever your question or comment, please just leave it in the comments below. And if you're subscribed to my channel, I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I love hearing your feedback, guys, and answering your questions. So click that subscribe button, and then leave your comments below the video, and I will get back to you. All right, now that this video is just about over, it's time for you to start taking control of your situation and beginning the process of changing your ex's mind about the breakup. The best place to start is at my website, breakupbrad.com, where you can watch my full how-to video and learn the psychological techniques that will have your ex begging you for a second chance. And again, you can find that video, plus a bunch of information about my best-selling X Factor program at www.breakupbrad.com. And lastly, a sincere thank you guys for watching this video and for supporting my channel here on YouTube. I look forward to chatting with you all in the comments below. Talk to you next time.